Thanks so much for being here. Now let's get to work.
Hello all. Going to quickly talk about Richard Branson's Finding My Virginity. Now, this was a great tale into the humorously, subtly dirty mind of Richard Branson. Ultimately, a lot of his companies are based around this Virgin idea. The Virgin Group kind of is the encompassing entity here, and they all kind of have a fun little euphemism attached to them. That's certainly not what the book is about, but it was one of the key takeaways for me, at least, to understand kind of the upbringing and a lot of the motivation behind a lot of what Richard Branson does. And very interestingly, a lot of what he's doing is coming from one of the best places that you might be able to find in a company. He talks a lot about the different companies that he's been running. So Virgin Airlines was one of the biggest ones, one of the ones that he talks about first in this story. And so interestingly, a lot of the marketing campaigns was an attack against British Airways. So Virgin and British Airways had huge rivalries, and interestingly enough, a lot of their marketing revolved around kind of making fun of them in a dirty way. So at one point there was a blimp that was that was flown that said BA can't keep it up, or BA can't get it up. And one of the times when Virgin was announcing they were giving massages on their airlines, they were posting billboards that said BA don't give a shiatsu. And they're just really fun, really interesting tactics used by Richard Branson, and it really separates them from any competition. So one of Richard Branson's largest motivations for doing anything is to ultimately make the world a better place. This is the big thing with his philanthropy branch. I think it's called Virgin Unite. And Nelson Mandela being being the first elder on that side to the Virgin Company was a huge testament to how much Richard Branson actually wanted to help the world. He was merely trying to make the world a better place. Okay, even conversely with Virgin Galactic. And there were huge scandals with this when they tried to launch rockets, and deaths occurred from it. And these were huge hits on Branson's ego and companies, and how is he gonna be able to recoup from this? How is he gonna do? And he took this personally, and it kind of hurt. And what's interesting is that unlike, and this is made very clear, unlike SpaceX, which has the goal of getting people to Mars and actually creating a second civilization, Richard Branson, all he wants to do is have people look at Earth from a different perspective. He just wants people to be able to go into space and look at the planet from a different perspective, which is truly beautiful. Now, taking a step back, the more practical sides of Virgin Group, all the different things that Richard Branson does is solving a problem. He sees that people are spending these huge piles of money on plans for their mobile devices. And he's saying to himself, why do people have to spend these piles of cash for this plan that isn't even that great, and they're not even using all this data, all these minutes and such? That's where Virgin Mobile came in. And it really created this new type of model that was a pay-as-you-go. He truly just wanted people to pay for what they were using, which sounds sensible, right? But we know that this is not a model that is popular, especially with places like AT&T and Verizon. Similarly, with gym memberships, gyms literally use their model as, okay, we'll get people to sign up, they'll stop coming, and that's how we're going to, and they're not going to cancel their subscriptions, and that's how we're going to manage, that's how we're going to keep cash flow. They just trust that people stop showing up to the gym. Richard Branson and Virgin Active stopped that by having a similar as Virgin Mobile. It was pay as you go. Just pay for what you're using. Okay, in addition to this, to really drive home the fact and the model that Richard Branson is working off of, that he wants to just help people, Virgin Startup is doing exactly that with companies that are too small to raise capital and whatnot. And it's essentially his way of giving back to people that are like him in the young age, people that want to start these startups, hence the name Virgin Startup, and they just don't have the capital or the ability to go about it. Truly, truly a lovely story about all the different types of companies that were started from the Virgin Group. I didn't even get into Virgin's response to the privatizing of the train system in the UK, and that kind of created Virgin Rail, which was another facet of the company. All things that are just responses to people's pain points. And it truly is a testament to, if you're solving problems, people will respond. People will pay you. People want their problems solved. Ultimately, solve a problem, execute it well, and you have the next Virgin Group. You could be the next Richard Branson. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out the corresponding blog post on nickcalabro.com. Now get to work.